1999 to 2007 as a member of the Bush family. Jeb Bush, the younger brother of President George W. Bush, brother Neil Bush, Marvin Bush and Dorothy Bush Koch, and is the second son of former President George H. W. Bush and Barbara Bush, youth born in Midland, Texas, where Jeb's father runs a petroleum exploration company. Even as a baby, John Ellis Bush was known as Jeb, assembled from the first three letters of his name. When Jeb was 6, the family moved to Houston, Texas. Jeb loved sports, like baseball and tennis. At first he studied in a public school, after attending a private school. When the 8th grade, his father won a seat in Parliament, should have to work in the capital. To Jeb, stay Houston with another family, so that we can complete the school year. But he could spend most of the summer and the holidays. Come alive at Bush family page. Then, Jeb attended Phillips Andover Academy, a private boarding school in Massachusetts, as well as his older brother George School. Right from the first semester, Bush named in the list of honor. He describes himself as an unpleasant guy kid in a small school, hard life. Friends remembered in photographs Jeb student disciplined and focused on learning. To visit Las Vegas but did not drink, did not play all that, went to see Elvis Presley's show. When Bush was 17, he came Leon, Mexico to teach English in a student exchange program. When we take a motor race, Bush met a girl named Columba Garnica Locals Gallo, whom he later married. After the defeat in the election for governor of Florida in 1994, Bush abandoned the Protestant faith to accept the religion of his wife, a devout Catholic. Bush to study at the University of Texas at Austin in just 2.5 years to complete the degree, and graduate in 1973 with a bachelor's degree in Latin American subjects. Bush registered his military service, but when the Vietnam War ended, after graduation, February 23, 1974, Bush married the first woman he ever single and dating, Columba Garnica Gallo. They have 3 children, George P., both married, Johnny, Jeb, Jr. and Noel. Starting a business, Bush worked for the International Committee of the Texas Commerce Bank, run by Ben Love, Bush's assistant for communications for Love. November 1977. Bush to Caracas, Venezuela to open a new campaign for the bank. Together with their families, Bush lived there for 2 years, working in the field of international finance with the goal of targeting the operating position of the bank. Bush returned to the U.S. to work without pay for his father in the campaign for the Republican nomination for the presidency in 1980. His father did not win the nomination, but Ronald Reagan selected his father. Stood together in partnership to become Vice President of the United States for 2 terms. In 1988, George H. W. Bush won the Republican nomination, success in the elections, and became the 41st president. After the presidential election in 1980, Bush with his family moved to Miami-Dade County, Florida. He agreed to work for the company's real estate Armando Cadena, a 32-year-old millionaire former immigrant from Cuba. Cadena has established business in the computing industry. When he wanted to establish a new company, Inter-America Investment Inc., that seek business opportunities in the real estate industry. During this time, Bush participated in a number of other businesses, working for a mobile phone company, is a board member of a company whose owners are the Norwegian Specialized Firefighting Equipment, the oil pipeline, and Alaska. Has a stake in the club Professional Rugby Jacksonville Jaguars. The company acquired a shoe and involved a questionable plan to sell water pumps in Nigeria. Due to the success of Bush and the company of Cadena, Cadena gradually agreed to take Bush as colleagues in a new company, the real estate business. Soon the company became one of the leading names in the field of real estate business. As colleagues, Bush received 40% of company profits. In June 1993, Bush sold his stake in the company, earned more than $1 million to pursue a political career. Politics. In addition to English, Bush can speak fluent Spanish. He used a speech in 2 languages before the crowd of listeners. Our residents speak Spanish in Florida. Bush's political career starting position of party president, Dade County Republican Party. Dade County has played an important role in the election in 1986, brought Bob Martinez to the position of governor. In response, Bush appointed Martinez Trade Minister, Florida. Bush served in this capacity in 1987 and 1988, before resigning to join the presidential campaign for his father in 1989. The Bush administration Ileana Ra's campaign for letting the first Cuban-American as parliament. In 1994, Bush failed candidacy against Lawton Chiles, incumbent Democratic governor. Bush won 49% of votes, Lawton 51%. Governor of Florida. Edit source. In 1998, Bush defeated Democrat rival Vice Governor Buddy McKay, 55% to 45%, to become the governor of Florida, thanks to the support of the moderate voters and residents speak Spanish, Hispanic. Meanwhile, George W. Bush won re-election landslide when the term's second governor of Texas. Like two brothers, Bush became the first person in the same family two leaders stayed in the same time. Nelson and Winthrop Rockefeller since elected governor of New York and Arkansas tenure from 1967 to 1971. Education. Edit source. Governor Bush focused on education reform issues. His Plan A+ requires public schools to organize rigorous exams to minimize incentives for social sectors, and establish a system-scale statewide FCAT standardized test. He also supported the financial aid policy for parents to give them the ability to choose a school for their children. 2000 presidential election. Edit source. Some observers questioned whether Bush or Secretary of State Katherine Harris states have sought to help his brother in the 2000 presidential elections by tampering with the voters list. Then confirmed the results. Election is controversial. There are doubts about the ability Bush scandal involved list Florida crime. When many black voters supported Democrats were put on the list and wrongly deprived of voting. At least Bush has refused to consider the warning of a computer expert said that the list was faulty and should not use it. Bush captured the feelings of the people of Florida. Here the number of registered voters for the Democrats outnumber Republicans, and a large number of voters' no definitive stance is considered a decisive factor for election results in the state. Bush has a cherished image within Cuban Americans in Florida. 2002 accounted for 80% of the votes of the Cuban community, and residents speak Spanish but not the Cubans. 56% of the vote in 2002. Bush's longtime ally of Israel, therefore a good relationship with the voters of this community. In 2002 he won 44% of the votes of the Jewish race in the state governor's office. Many blacks support Bush because of his concern for the public education sector as well as the opportunity to choose the school of the students' parents. In 2002, Bush caused consternation among critics when he won the votes of white women world in the unsettled areas in Central Florida. 2002 gubernatorial election. Edit source. Before the re-election of Bush, Republicans have not yet had the opportunity to serve a second term as governor, and the governor does not have. The Democrats been considered a target number one to sort of band in as Bush in the election of 2002. This is not only the efforts within the state to eliminate a Republican governor, but also the explicit objective of the Democratic National Committee and the world's supreme leader of the Democratic Party in this election. The running for governor of Florida attracted nationwide attention. In November 2002, Bush was re-elected to become politician's first Republican from holding it in 2 terms. Bush defeated Democratic Bill McBride opponent 56% to 43%, the wide margin than in 1998 elections. If Bush completed his second term in January 2007, he will be the second governor serves 2 terms in Florida. The first one is a Democrat, Ruben O. D'Askew. He was also the first incumbent governor. His siblings are incumbent president. Prospect. Edit source. Under the provisions of the Constitution, Bush is not running for a 3rd term. Many want Bush to run against incumbent Sen. Bill Nelson in the U.S. Senate election in 2006, but on May 30, 2006, He did not attend the race but made location for Katherine Harris challenges. There is speculation that Bush will join the race for the White House in 2008, however. November 9, 2004, he was dismissed predictions. Thus, if a Democrat elected in 2008, maybe Bush will be a candidate for election in 2012. Although he has not said anything about this possibility, in May 2006, President George W. Bush said that his brother might become a great president. Presidential Elections 2016. Edit source. Jeb Bush announced he would run for president for the Republicans in 2016 on June 15, 2015 in a multicultural school, Miami-Dade College.